Hi, my name is Amy Mazzi, and I am with Centurion Boats. And even though this is our 51st year in existence, Centurion is on the rise for 2027. And there's no better example of that elevation in experience for our customers than the RS245. This boat is 24.5 feet long, and it has features that elevate your experience on the water. Let's walk through them. As with most Centurions, the RS has a signature look up front. Not only is there a lit Centurion in the nose of the 245, there is also a special plate that houses an anchor. So it's got anchor storage up front. And then this billet aluminum plate that's on the nose of the deck actually acts as a great place to step if you're boarding the boat from the bow as well, because it has gator step on it. That gator step matches the design you've chosen for your RS245, but it keeps your feet nice and cool when you're getting into the boat. You also have a great look at the front of the boat for the docking lights. The docking lights are made by Baja Designs, and these lights are extremely powerful. Brand new for Centurion this year. They have a ton of power. Each little light has about 3,000 lumens, which means that 6,000 lumens aside. It is really, really bright and can help you see your way to that dock even late at night. But the front of the RS245 is definitely a unique look. And if you look up towards that frameless windshield, you can see that glass just disappear into the Predator power tower, and it is a beautiful sight to see. The front of the RS245 is gorgeous, and people are going to know it's you coming in your new Centurion when they see you on the lake. Everyone always asks, what do the model designators mean? What does RI stand for? What does RS stand for? Relentless significance. Why? Because the feature set in the RS series boats is going to mean the world to you and your family. The reason being is it's inspired by you, our customers and owners, as well as our dealer partners, even our vendors. We've built features into this boat that are what you asked for. And there's none more obvious than what you see here at the front of the boat. We've got new bumper pockets built into the deck of the RS. They're in 4 different locations, 2 ahead of the windshield and 2 behind the back seat. They allow you to store big bumpers vertically inside the gunnel of the boat, so you can remove them and plug them into the bumper cleat just when you need them. But when you don't need them, they're stored away, out of sight, out of mind, but always conveniently available. You also have the Vented View frameless windshield. This is brand new and only offered on the RS series boats. This windshield has 4 vents in it. 2 in the corners in the front of the windshield, as well as 2 new glass vents that are reminiscent of that old 78 Chevy pickup that you were running around in high school. You can actually open these vents and allow wind to come in through the windshield for that really hot day on the water. They're extremely functional, but they're also beautiful. They're built into the glass of this frameless windshield, and they look as if they're one solid piece until you open them up. The front part of the RS245 is just the beginning. This is going to mean so much to you. Let's look at some more. As we move down the side of the RS245, you start to realize just how tall this boat is. Specifically, it's 4 inches taller than the RI245. So it's got a lot of extra freeboard. But you really notice the difference in the body lines. This boat has some really aggressive lines that fit so well with things like the vented view frameless windshield, and they go together with that Predator power tower, both of which are standard on the RS245. You also have the lit Centurion badge. That is also standard on the RS245. You also have brand new pull-up cleats, and they are styled to go along with those aggressive lines of the RS245. They also are great tie-off points for when you're tying off to your houseboat or a dock, and you still got those standard bumper cleats that'll keep your boat off the dock, and you don't have to worry about tying up those bumpers to your pull-up cleats. You've got a lot going on as we move down the side of the RS245, but probably the most significant element that you want to talk about is Ramfill. And specifically, it's Ramfill boosted on the RS245. It is standard. It is the largest ballast area in the boat, and it fills amazingly fast. And you can fill it whether you're sitting still, idling, or if you're just under 15 miles an hour and you're using the scoop on the bottom of the boat. That ballast area covers the whole lounge on either side, and it is subfloor. And this year, because the RS245 is so tall, you've got increased storage area beneath your seats in the lounge, thankfully, so you've still got plenty of room to store all your stuff, but all of that Ramfill boosted ballast that everybody wants. You know, the RS245 comes standard with just about everything. But the one thing that you can customize, imagine this, is color. So you've got your choice of 39 different gel coat colors and 2 different schemes on the RS series boats. This particular scheme is the core scheme. But one of the other options you have is to color your deck base different than your hull base. And that gives you the ability to make this even more customized. So you can choose between 20 different colors to use on your hull base and your deck base, independent of one another if you choose. Another color accent that we've added new for this year is you can choose to color the entire Predator power tower. You can choose between those 20 different colors and make this boat all yours. In this color, on this particular RS245, is olive gray. It looks beautiful, it goes with this scheme really well, but I could have chosen 19 other colors to go on this tower. But that's not the only thing that's special about the Predator Power Tower. The Predator Power Tower is powered. That's number one. But the way in which it goes up and down is what makes it unique. It's actuated by 4 Leanback linear actuators. They reside in the base of the tower, in the feet on the deck, as well as in the top 2 corners. They're smart actuators and they talk with one another. They make sure that they're all working in complete synchronicity with one another. They're going up and down, and while they do that, they keep the bimini parallel to the floor. This means you can adjust the Predator Power Tower shade with the sun's angle. Or if you're trying to shelter from a stormy day on the lake, we had a Worlds one year where we had hail, and that Predator Power Tower came in really, really handy to shelter our judges from the elements. But the Predator Power Tower is also about options. This year, a lot of it is standard on the RS, but it's optional with Bombshell 2.0 racks. And you can get those racks colored, one of those 20 different gel coat colors that I mentioned earlier. Also, you could get it in a brushed anodized finish. Those racks can be customized just like the rest of the boat. It also comes with that bimini that is technically a convertible bimini. It has 2 pieces of shade that zip out and roll back, so you can allow sunlight in to the Predator Power Tower bimini if you'd like. Otherwise, you can zip them back up and be sheltered from the sun, about 9 feet of shade on the interior of that boat, which makes it really cozy, even on a hot day. So you've got a lot going on. In addition to that, you can get the optional stereo system in the boat, in an RS, but that stereo system differs for the speakers that are on the tower. In this particular instance, we have surround fire, which has 6 R1 Pros mounted in the tower, which are 12-inch speakers. Yes, 6 12s in the tower on the surround fire system from Waswell. This particular stereo system is amazing, but you have 2 other choices of stereo systems as well. You have the Wet Sounds Warrior system, which is a quad Warrior system, which has 4 12s in the tower. You also have the option of direct fire quad, which gives you another 4 of those R1 Pros in the tower. So you can make this Predator Power Tower just as customized as the boat itself. As we get towards the back of the RS245, we've still got more to talk about. Number one, we've got to talk about the bumper cleats and the fact that you now have a bumper pocket storage on the deck right above the bumper cleat itself. So it's really convenient. You can store these big bumpers in that storage area, pull them out anytime you need them, plug them in, and be ready to safely dock the RS245. I also have my dual fuel fill back here on this side of the boat, and consequently, it is on the other side of the boat as well. So you can fill your fuel on whatever side your tow vehicle fills on. You also have the model designator carved into the rear fresh air vent on the corner of the RS245. That designator is lit, it looks amazing, and remember, RS means relentless significance, because all of these items that you'll hear about on this boat today were inspired by customers like you and our dealer network. This is where this boat is going to mean a lot to you and your family. One of the other elements that's been significantly elevated with the RS series is, of course, the running surface. It is still an Opti-V hull, but it has been further optimized. We have extended those lifting triangles that are on the back corners of the boat further forward, which gives you a little bit better handling. We've also flattened out the outside chine all the way around the boat, which gives you better turning. And we've added a little bit more hook to the back of the boat, which gives you a more level running attitude front to back. In other words, it's not so bow high, even before you add any Silent Stinger wake plate. So the performance of the RS series has been elevated, and it will mean a lot to you and your family. But you've got about 5,050 pounds of ballast in the RS245. That, coupled with the increased dry weight of the boat itself, because it is so much taller, it has a more elaborate stringer grid in it, which gives it a lot of stability, but also a little bit more weight. It has slightly more fuel, so it's got 92 gallons of fuel in it. All of that weight displaces this Opti-V hull and makes the surf wave even more easily achievable on both sides of the boat. It also gives you a great wakeboard wake, and it still preserves that amazing rough water ride that you get from the Centurion Opti-V. You've got all of that going on, and you still have your quick surf at the back of the boat that can change that wave from side to side, really utilizing all of that water that's being displaced when you're ready to surf. The RS245 is elevated in every single way possible, and it starts with performance. When we move around to the back of the RS245 and look beneath the swim step, you see there's a lot going on, especially on this boat. And about everything is standard. It's going to come with this boat no matter what. You've got, number one, the surge thruster system. This thruster is the most powerful in our industry. It's 3 3/4 horsepower, and that's what it takes to move a big boat with a lot of the hull in the water, but it does a great job with the RS245. It helps you dock, it can help you turn back around in a 180 to get your fallen rider. It can even help you get it on and off the trailer. It gives you that precise control just when you need it. It's controlled with a switch that's mounted into the throttle, and it allows you to move the back end of the boat either towards the port side, towards the starboard side, any way you need to, when you need to. The other thing you'll notice on the RS245 are the underwater lights. These are RGBW capable underwater lights. They are 10,000 lumens a side, and they're made by Technique. These lights really illuminate the water behind the boat, and they can be any color you want, and you can set that at the stacked dash that we'll talk about in just a little bit. You also have your Silent Stinger wake plate, and that Silent Stinger wake plate not only dampens the noise of the engine and makes the interior of the boat extremely quiet, it also changes the running attitude of the boat. So it allows you to get the nose down into the water, so you have the most extreme part of the V cutting through the chop on a really rough day. It also allows you to bring the nose up and allows you to get more of the back end of the boat into the water, displacing more water on the back side of the boat and giving you that better shaped wave or wake that you're looking for. You also have your Quick Surf Pro tabs on the rear corners of the RS245. These tabs allow you to make a curl in the surf wave on either side of the boat. So once you've filled up all of the 5,050 pounds of ballast and displaced the hull of the RS245, then you can turn on Quick Surf and allow someone to surf either on the port side or the starboard side, whether it be regular or goofy. This thing makes a killer wave thanks to Quick Surf. So the other thing that you may not have noticed that is underneath the swim step of the RS245 is the new Centurion sit step. This step, unlike a regular ladder, is kind of wide and it's a little bit deeper, so you can sit on this platform or this step rather than just stand on it. But you can also use it as a ladder, and you can step on it, grab on to one of the tooled in handles in the swim step itself and pull yourself up to the swim step very easily. But the fun thing about it is you can be sitting on this step and in the water, up to mid-chest, and be nice and cool, hanging out, and not have to tread water that whole time you're hanging out behind the boat. When you step up onto the swim step of the RS245, you find another whole set of features that now I have to tell you about. Namely, the swim step itself. It's brand new on the RS series models. It has handles tooled into the outer edge to help you get up onto the swim step from the Centurion sit step. But you also have cup holders in the swim step, which is super fun. If you're out swimming around, you can have your drink in one of the cup holders on the swim step and, tread water, tool around, come back, and your drink's nice and safe still in that swim step. You also have a lot of storage on the back of the RS245. Again, that is one of the significantly elevated pieces of the RS series in general. Because the boat is so much taller, you've got a lot of opportunities for really convenient storage. But one of the most elevated elements of the RS245 is the step over the sun pad in the back of the boat. It's actually a set of stairs, and it's a gradual step up onto the sun pad as well as into the boat. So down into the boat, it's also a very gradual step. And it allows you to enter even if you're not super comfortable with a big step. So we originally started talking about making a more convenient access to the back of the boat years ago. And a lot of it was because of our parents getting a little bit older and not being able to get into the back of the boat easily. So they were less likely to want to go to the lake with us. So we wanted to make that entrance into the back of the boat a lot easier for them. But a drawback of making a walk-through transom is that sometimes that wave that we create behind our boat can end up inside of our boat. Well, luckily, with the way that the RS transom is designed, it's a gradual step up, so you don't have to worry about your wave coming inside the boat when you're pulling a rider and they fall, and then all of a sudden you have to stop and come around to pick them up. There's no chance of water getting in because it's still a relatively tall transom, but you've got this gradual entrance. You also have have a pop-up pylon that is located in the first step. This gives you the opportunity to pull a tube, to pull a skier, and then that rope doesn't interfere with your upholstery at all, and it's on the furthest part of the boat that it can be when you're pulling up that type of a rider. And it's also really easily integrated into that first step. You don't have to worry about stepping on it because it has gator step on it, which keeps it cool, but it also has a really cool look, and the gator step can be matched to your overall gator step theme. The second step is also pretty cool. So the second step is also a really gradual step into the boat, but it houses something that's really neat. It houses an air compressor. So I can actually blow up a tube, I can kind of blow off the back deck if I wanted to, all from this air compressor that's mounted here in the second step. It's really convenient. We wanted it to be accessible when you need it, and oftentimes you're going to need it on the swim step of the boat, but when you don't, it acts as that second step, and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. You also have access to some more sun pad lounging area up here, but these seats also house even more storage that is easily accessible with a button push. So I can push a button and open either side and have storage for things like ropes, shoes, rash guards, you name it, you can fit it in these storage areas. But the really cool thing about this whole back enclosure is it's all a fiberglass piece. What does that mean, or why does that matter? Because it's all a solid fiberglass piece that comes up as one piece from the inside of the boat when you want to access your engine, it allows for water to be routed around and above the engine. In other words, when I've got wet people walking in and out of the boat from the swim step, I'm not worried about their water from their bodies dripping down onto the engine itself. Where that can cause a problem is in a saltwater environment, when you've got that salt water that is then coming into contact with things like your ballast pumps that are beneath here, your engine manifolds, things like that, because that water can be so corrosive. But the way this fiberglass enclosure is built is it actually has channels in it that route any water that's dripped onto it down into the lake itself. So you don't have to worry about any of that possible corrosion happening with this solid fiberglass piece of an enclosure in the back. The other thing that's super convenient is I have my flip-up lean backs. So I can actually kind of lounge here, and it's super comfortable on either side if I want to sit up. I also have access to my bumper pocket storage here, so if I need to help when we're coming into dock, I know exactly where the bumpers are, and I could plug them into the bumper cleat on the side of the boat. I also have access to my stereo remote, and all of these items are standard on the RS245. So you have everything you need to lounge, hang out, and pull a tuber or a skier, everything you need right here on the back of the boat. What more do you need? The Centurion RS245 comes standard with the Predator Power Tower by Roswell. And this tower is not only beautiful and does it go with the look of the boat itself, it's also extremely functional and strong. It's actuated by 4 linear actuators made by Leanback. This year, they are a little bit different. They can actually be talked to via Bluetooth. And while this might not mean a lot for the everyday user, service-wise, it's amazing. You can actually hook up to these via Bluetooth, see how each of the actuator's doing, understand if there's a problem, and it helps you fix it on the other side. So it is extremely functional. And what those actuators do is they move the tower up and down simultaneously, and they allow the bimini to stay parallel to the floor. So you can move your shade with the angle of the sun. It's extremely convenient, but it's also very strong. You can be towing a rider at any height, And that gives you the ability to adjust your shade and not negatively affect your rider in tow. It makes it very convenient and, like I said, strong. But one of the biggest differences this year is going to be the look of it, because on an RS, you can change the entire color of the tower. It used to be that the legs of the tower could only be black or white. Now you can choose between 20 different colors to color your Predator Power Tower, so it looks as good as it performs. It also is the basis for things like your Bombshell 2.0 racks, your stereo system, whatever you choose, either surround fire, 12 Warriors quad, or direct fire quad. You can put any of those speakers on the Predator Power Tower. It is beautiful to look at, extremely functional and accommodating, and it's Centurion. When you step down in to the RS245, you start to understand just how deep this boat is. But it's a really easy step into the interior. I step right on to the slide seat, which is in its stowed position at the back of the lounge, and then I can easily step to the floor and take a seat. The beauty of this interior may not be obvious at first, but once you sit down, it is so comfortable. And the colors that you can build into your RS245 interior, they run the gamut. You've got all kinds of choices. This particular scheme is a Colorado scheme, and it's a Colorado Cool Comfort scheme. What that means is the color or the types of vinyl, both on your main and your accent, are a type of vinyl from Syntec called Colorado. It has a nice matte finish to it. We have it available in 6 different colors, and you can combine those colors as you see fit. And then you also have a Cool Comfort version, or a regular Cool Comfort texture that is on the base part of the upholstery. So you've got a mix of textures and colors, and then you can add a welt that is one of many colors. In this particular boat, we used olive gray as the welt, and it really sets off and matches the olive gray that's on the exterior of the boat. This particular interior is beautiful. It's also extremely comfortable. It's using 3 densities of foam. So there is a rigid, dense foam that's on the base of the seat, and then that is covered by a little bit softer foam that gives somewhat. And then right on the other side of the vinyl, there's a really cushy piece of foam. So it allows it to be comfortable to sit in, but these seats don't break down over time. They last, even if they're being sat on and stepped on for years. They're also sewn together with a Teflon thread. So the thread itself is most likely stronger than the vinyl. And in a Centurion interior, you'll be hard pressed to find an area where we stitch together 2 pieces of vinyl with 1 single stitch. In most areas, you will see what we call a half stitch, which is actually sewn 2 times. And then in high stress areas, you'll see a French seam, which is sewn 3 times. Then you have areas where the vinyl is brought together by the welt, which is also sewn 2 times. So you've got a very durable process that we use to connect all of the vinyl together. That's why it lasts so long, and that's why it stays beautiful for so long. But you've also got something that this interior is covering, something that it's hiding, that it's really important in the RS245 and very different from Centurions of the past. Tons of storage beneath every seat in the lounge, and you can store until your heart's content. The cool thing about 2027 is we've added these 90-degree hinges where I can pull up a cushion. It is hinged, so it's not going anywhere, but I can pull it up, stand it straight up 90 degrees to the seat base, and allow me to load my gear in, and I don't have to worry about this cushion falling down. I also don't have to worry about that cushion maybe popping up if it's got shocks underneath it, or those shocks that it could have taking up valuable storage area beneath. It's a really great way to house that storage, and so it's very easily accessible by anybody. You also have side panels in the RS245 that allow for a different kind of storage. Drink storage. We've got tons of cup holders in this boat, and they're all lit up, and they really accentuate the side panel as well as offer a great place for your cups and drinks to go. You've got lit speakers here. You've got a lit Centurion badge in the side panel. I've also got lit grab handles, and I have a wireless clamping cell phone charger in each of the side panels. So we always have lots of places to charge your phone, and they don't have to take up a cup holder. You've got everything you need in the side panel, in the interior. It's a beautiful place to be, but it's also extremely accommodating and very functional in the RS245. There are so many customizable options in an RS series boat. I can choose between 39 different gel coat colors to cover these side panels. And those side panels are connected to these accent pieces that you'll find in the lounge and in the bow that also match, and they give the boat just that extra little custom touch. But you've got all of these choices, including your flooring. So the Gator Step flooring that comes in this boat standard is a 2-layer flooring. You can upgrade that to 3 layers, and it can be a Warrior Cut 3-layer, a Salute to Service 3-layer, or you can do a Centurion Cut 3-layer. What that means is it's just a different design cut into those floors. But of those layers, you can choose to color your top layer in 11 different colors, your middle layer in 12 different colors, and your bottom layer in 12 different colors if you choose a 3-layer scheme. That is another level of customization, because what Gator Step does, depending on the design, is they'll reveal larger areas of those different layers in certain spots in the boat that really set it off. They make it seem like it is a custom-built Centurion. Well, after all, because it is. So the other great thing about the RS245 is the fact that the interior seating is extremely versatile. It's made to do what you and your family want to do when you want to do it on the water. The perfect example of that is the bench-to-back multi-position slide seat. And this thing acts as a great step into the boat. When you're coming in over the back of the sun pad, it's a gradual step, so it's really easy to get down to the floor. You don't have to stress about having your hands full even and stepping into the boat. But when you're ready to have a set of passengers that want to face the action, you can slide this seat forward very easily. And then you can bring the lean back up and have a bench seat with a back on it, and you can face the rider and actually see all of that action firsthand. It's really easy to do. You also have an optional table that you can plug in to the bottom of this seat base that'll give your passengers access to a table as well. So you can make this interior as versatile and as accommodating as you and your passengers need it to be. The 2027 Centurion RS245 gives a lot of control to the passengers. Yes, this year we have a new 8.5-inch screen that is part of our stacked dash system by Maraview. And that 8.5-inch screen allows the passenger to control a number of things in the boat. You can take a look at the mapping, you can control the stereo, you can also see and have access to some settings. You can see or have a view of the cameras. You can also have access to switching, so you can turn on the interior lights, maybe even a heater, that type of thing. So the passenger has a ton of control with this new screen that's mounted in the observer's area. Not only does the observer have a lot of control in the RS245, but you've also got some pretty cool amenities. You've got cup holders. I've got a lit grab handle here. I've got my own speaker, and I have a wireless clamping charging cell phone holder. So I can have my phone, I can have access to my screen and my handle, as well as the tunes. I've got everything I need right here in the observer's area of the RS245. The observer's area in the RS245 has a lot going on. One of the things that you may notice as being aesthetically pleasing is the shadow rail seat base, and it is the black stacked rails that run under the observer's seat, and they look kind of like a grid. They add a really cool look to the interior of the 245, but they also serve a purpose. So all three of your interstate batteries, your Series 31 batteries that come with the RS245, are mounted under the observer seat. That shadow rail system allows air to get to those batteries so they don't get too hot. If you've opted for the standard 12 Warriors sound system by Wet Sounds, you'll also have a subwoofer, a 12-inch Icon subwoofer that is mounted in the floor just ahead of the observer seat. So that also allows that sound from that subwoofer to get out as far as the shadow rail system goes. Plus, it just looks really cool. You've also got a lot going on with the glove box as far as the observer's area goes. And speaking of batteries, we have control of all of our batteries here in the glove box. So both of the batteries that are used for the house battery function as well as the engine cranking battery are controlled through our battery management system. And then you have a separate isolator switch that just controls the battery for the surge thruster system. So technically, you have control for all three batteries right here in the glove box. You can turn them on, turn them off, use some and not the others, but you have really easy access here in the glove box. And this new glove box that is in the RS series boats is a locking glove box. So you can put your valuables in it as well. It has a lot of room in it, so it's perfectly positioned to house a purse, everybody's wallet. If you're going into the restaurant on the lake, you've got a nice, safe place to put all of your valuables. The observer's area also has access to the vents for the new vented view frameless windshield. You can pop out one of your vents on the side to allow more air to come in. You also have the existing vent in the corner, so you can really maximize that airflow even on a hot day. You also have cup holders available both in front of the observer's area and on the dash, so you've got everything you need as a passenger in the RS245. The increased freeboard in an RS series boat, specifically the RS245, is what gives us the ability to add more storage. So you can put everything you need to put away. And one of the areas that we really maximize this storage is the observer storage area. It is now a surf storage area, meaning you can store surfboards. This has always been the largest storage area in a Centurion boat. However, now we have adjusted the stringer grid so that it goes all the way to the bottom of the hull. So you can store boards in here. And we've got racks that are removable. You don't have to store your boards in here, but we've got racks that mount to the inside of the hull towards the bow right here in the observer storage area that allow you to store as many as 6 skim boards. You could probably store 3 surfboards just because they're a little bit thicker, but it's not going to be limited by the length of your board, more the width of your board. And this is going to be something you can use to your heart's content. You can mix and match skim and surfboards and house a good number of them inside the observer storage area to keep them sheltered from the elements, as well as just to have a great place to have them always available to you, but not out here on the floor, always in your racks, getting sun. That's just one of the things that you'll find in the RS series boats is there's a lot more storage. So I've got to say that the driver's area in the RS245 is definitely the best seat in the house for 2027. This is where everybody's going to want to be, mainly because of the stacked dash system by Maraview. This is 2 screens, 24 inches long apiece, and they're curved, one stacked on top of the other. And this gives you information overload, but you can control it. You can tell this screen what you want to see, when you want to see it, and how you want to see it. And it gives you so much control. So I can control what I want to see where on the screen. If I want to have my ballast on the left and I want to have the control of my quick surf and my center stinger wake plate on the right, I can do that. But let's say I'd want to change it up and I would rather see my stereo controls on the right. I can do that as well. As easy as what you saw there. I also have the ability to have some windows or apps that are up while I've got all this other information going on down below. And this is really cool. It acts a lot like a phone. So if I wanted to add my stereo control up top, I can do that. I can still have my GPS mapping and my camera system, which this camera system is actually a 360-degree camera system. We're calling it Sunny View 360. And what it does is it gives you access to all 4 of the cameras that are mounted around the boat. There's one in the bow, one on either side of the windshield, and one on the transom. You also have a tower camera mounted up top on the Predator power tower facing back. This gives you access to all 5 of those cameras, but the 4 that are around the boat also gives you a 360 bird's eye view of your boat in the water. So I can see not only my boat, I can see everything around it. And in a boat that's as tall as the RS245, it's really helpful to have that view of the water that's just ahead of, beside, or behind your boat. It gives you the ability to see everything around you, 360 degrees, and we're really excited about that functionality. But you also have the ability to access each of those cameras independent of one another. So I can look at the front camera, I can look at my right or my starboard camera, I can go back to the front, I can look at my left or port side camera, I can see all the way around the boat. And it gives me that control with that amount of visibility. And I've still got a lot of control on this side. If I wanted to add another screen, let's say, oh, but this is getting a little too busy. So I'm going to remove this just by touching and dragging. I'm going to make my stereo the focal point. I've still got my mapping. I've still got my cameras. But let's say I'm not really interested in my maps right now. I can actually grab it in the center and drag it off too. So I have control over what can be seen at any given time, and it's easy to change. So no matter who's driving the boat, they can operate this system very easily. You don't need a PhD to do it. I also have access to the normal things. My speed control, it's easily operated here in the center of the lower screen. I can turn it on and off. I also have access to all of my rider profiles. I can create new profiles and save the boat as it is set up here. I can activate a factory profile from here, and it gives me the ability to edit any one of those profiles. I also have access to my fuel trip data, and just by touching my trip details down below, I can see how much fuel I've used, how many gallons I have left of fuel, so I know that I can get back to where I need to go, and what rate at which I am using fuel. It gives me all of that information, as well as the distance that I've traveled. And I have access to all of my normal system information, like my battery voltage, my engine temp. You're going to be able to have access to water temperature and air temperature as well. So I've got all of that information here at my fingertips, not to mention control of all of my ballast. Now in the RS245, there are only 5 ballast areas, which is a little unique because most other Centurions have 6 or 7 different ballast areas. In the RS245, we only have 5, but part of the reason for that is the boat itself is a lot heavier than other Centurion models. It has the grid system, which is a system that is extremely robust. It's like the chassis of the boat, and it's mounted beneath the floor. And not only does it allow a lot of structure built into the hull of the boat, it adds some excess weight as well. You also have a little bit larger fuel tank in the RS245. That is a 92-gallon usable tank, and that's going to add weight to the boat as well. So honestly, we didn't need as much ballast, but the ballast areas, they still total 5,050 pounds of ballast. And those are in all 5 of these different areas, which are controlled by independent pumps. The center tank pump is a 13.5 gallon per minute sea flow pump. That pump will fill and drain that center tank, which is mounted almost beneath the walkthrough, beneath the floor. And you can kind of see it where it's depicted on the screen here. Then you have the 2 Ramfill tanks, which are mounted from the driver's area all the way back to the transom on either side of the lounge beneath the floor. Those 2 tanks are either filled with a 30-gallon per minute sea flow pump or drained with a 30-gallon per minute sea flow pump, or they can be filled with the Ramfill scoop if you are underway. And both of the fills can happen simultaneously when you're underway, so you can fill really fast if you want to. But those 30-gallon per minute pumps are also available on the 2 bags that are on either side of the engine. So you can fill 5,050 pounds of ballast in this boat like that. And it doesn't matter if you're sitting still, if you're idling, or if you're getting up to speed to fill your Ramfill. You've got all of that control and all of that displacement at your fingertips right here on the stacked dash system. Now, if I want to go and control my surf system, if I want to actuate quick surf, change my tabs from surf left to surf right, change my CATS position if I've opted for CATS. And CATS is a Centurion articulating tracking system. And what that is a fin that is mounted to the bottom of the boat that articulates, and it deflects the bow or adds yaw into the boat, which really means the boat kind of crab walks down the lake. But what it does for the passengers on the inside of the boat is it levels the boat out, even if you have a disproportionate amount of people on one side of the boat compared to the other. So you're able to level that boat out with CATS and ride down the lake very, very comfortably, even though your weight may be staggered in the boat. But you've got all of that control as well as control of your quick launch system here in this particular menu. And all of this is extremely visible without obscuring my view of the water in front of me. So I can still see the nose of the boat. I can still see the water in front of me. I don't feel like I have to stand up to see over this dash. This stacked dash is just incredible. And we've got a heater vent just below it. So in case you're out on a really cool day on the water, the driver is always warm. I've got my valuables locker here down below where I can put rings or watches, small things that I want to keep a close eye on. I also have my surf volume knob, which is a wet sounds knob, and it allows me to change my song selection as well as change the volume of the stereo system, so I can easily come around to a fallen rider, turn that volume down quickly, and be able to hear what they're trying to tell me. It's a really convenient way to control your volume quickly without having to think about, oh gosh, where was that volume control again? You can also control your volume on the stereo controls of the screen itself, but sometimes that's a little harder to get to. You've also got all of your normal buttons on your right-hand side down below. We have our blower, our anchor and nav lights, as well as the start and stop of the engine and the horn. Another thing that we've changed for this year is the Predator Power Tower switch. So the switch used to be mounted a little bit lower, down by the right knee of the driver. Now it's a little bit more easily accessible, and it's right underneath your wireless clamping cell phone holder. And the charger here gives you great visibility of your phone, as well as easy access to that switch right below. I also have my throttle and my throttle console, which has a great armrest. It's an armrest that's at the perfect height, so I have a great grip on the throttle, and I can actuate my surge thruster system very easily with the button that's in the throttle. And I don't have to strain or hold my arm in a weird position for any length of time. It's just a really comfortable way to drive. And I've still got my sport shifters, my paddle shifters that are mounted on either side of the steering wheel behind the steering wheel. I have control of my Silent Stinger wake plate on the left, and I have control of my set speed on the right. All I need to do is use a couple fingers to pull those tabs to me. I don't have to take my eyes off the water, and I can control that running attitude of the boat with my Silent Stinger wake plate, or I can control my set speed of the speed control, so I can easily increase or decrease my speed without having to lose sight of the horizon in front of me. This looks like an airplane cockpit, like you have control over every possible system in this boat, because you really do. This is the RS245 stacked dash system by Maraview. You have to experience it. In addition to all of the excess storage that we've added to the RS, you also have some pretty specific storage areas, one of which is the ice chest enclosure. So not only do I have an in-floor ice chest, which I could dump ice directly into, I have a soft-sided AO cooler that fits in this ice chest. So you can take it, fill it in the house, and then bring it out to the boat. You also have a trash can here, and it's a little bit easier to access than, say, our walk-through trash can. And we have moved that trash chute that you'll find in some of the other Centurions in the RS into the floor. The reason for that is a lot of our amps and stereo systems are mounted on that interior walk-through wall, so there's no room anymore there for that trash chute. But now it's even more accessible in the floor, and you can get it out, dump it very easily, and then you have that ice chest in there as well. And I don't have to have anybody get up or move in order to access either one of these specific storage areas. The Centurion RS245 has an enclosure behind the driver's seat that acts as another rear-facing lean back for a passenger. It also houses a trash chute, so I've got a second trash can in the RS245, and I have a cup holder. But it gives you the ability to have another rear-facing seat and gives some additional functionality to that enclosure. So one thing about a boat, especially a Centurion boat, is you want to be out riding all year long. You know, rain or sleet or snow. You also want to be out in any temperature condition. But sometimes it's chilly, especially if you go out for first class. You want to have a wind block. And in years past, we've had a wind block that you could put in and would definitely block the wind, but it was a little more cumbersome to deal with. For the RS series boats, we've designed the bow lean block, which is a bow filler cushion that also has a lean back, so you can sit in and on the bow filler cushion and be able to lean back up against it. But when you've got that lean back up, it also acts as a wind block. So it blocks the wind. And if you're out on a cool day on the water, you've got your heaters going, you'll want to have that lean back or lean block up. And it's really easy to do. All you do is fold it up, and you can go ahead and shut your windshield, and then you're all nice and toasty back here behind the windshield, behind that wind block. When you make it to the bow of the RS245, you really have one of the best seats in the house, especially in this particular boat, because we have the flip-up lean block. This is a center seat in the bow that's not just a filler cushion. It actually has a flip-up lean back that acts as a wind block in your walkthrough. It also has standard armrests, and so I can sit here and have both armrests to myself, kind of take my half out of the middle, or I can sit on either side of this seat and have one armrest and then a grab handle to the side. But the bow is a really comfortable place to sit in the RS245, namely because of the smooth, rough water ride that this boat has, but also because of the amenities here. And if I wasn't sitting on this middle seat, this filler cushion seat, there would be a gator-stepped fiberglass piece here that I could use to step on if I was entering the boat from the bow, so I never have to step on my cushions on my way into the boat. I also have access to grab handles that are lit up here. I have my billet aluminum speaker covers housing the speakers of my choice. I also have cup holders. I have a power point, a wireless charging, clamping power point for my phone. I've got everything I need up here to be comfortable and relaxed and enjoy my day on the water in the bow of the RS245. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the all-new Centurion RS245. This series of boats, the RS series, really signifies the rise of Centurion boats. Relentless innovation, significantly elevated. That's what we're about for 2027, and that's definitely what the RS245 provides. But don't just take my word for it. Visit your local Centurion Boats dealer and let us prove it to you on the water today.